Commander Jack Harper stared out the viewport of the Terran embassy on Centauri Prime, his steely gaze fixed on the swirling, gaseous giant that dominated the sky. The vibrant blues and purples of the gas giant's atmosphere did little to lighten his mood. In fact, they only served to remind him of the monumental task that lay ahead. Another beautiful day in paradise, Commander. The cheery voice of his Centaurian liaison, Zix Tal, broke through his brooding thoughts. Jack turned, offering a thin smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. If you say so, Zix. I'm more concerned with the storm brewing in the council chambers. Zix Tal's antenna drooped slightly, a sign Jack had learned to interpret as concern. You Terrans, always looking for the dark cloud behind every silver lining. The Galactic Council is thrilled to have you on board for the Nexus project. Your expertise is unparalleled. Jack sighed, running a hand through his salt and pepper hair. That's exactly what worries me, Zix. They're too excited. No one's stopping to consider all the ways this could go horribly wrong. The Nexus project was the most ambitious undertaking in the history of the Galactic Federation, a massive artificial wormhole designed to connect the far-flung corners of the galaxy. It promised to revolutionize travel and trade. But Jack Harper saw more than just opportunity, he saw catastrophic risk. Come on, Jack said, straightening his uniform. We've got a council meeting to attend. As they made their way through the sprawling embassy, Jack's mind raced with potential disaster scenarios. Gravitational instabilities, exotic matter containment failures, temporal paradoxes. The list seemed endless. By the time they reached the council chambers, his frown had deepened to a scowl. The Galactic Council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, a vast amphitheater carved from a single, massive crystal. Representatives from 100 different species filled the tiered seating, their excited chatter creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and rumbles. At the center of it all stood Arch-Counselor Van Rx, his towering insectoid form commanding attention as he called the meeting to order. Esteemed colleagues, Van Rx's voice boomed, amplified by the crystal chamber. We gather today to hear the preliminary risk assessment for the Nexus project. I call upon Commander Jack Harper of Terra to present his findings. Jack made his way to the podium, his steps measured and deliberate. He could feel the weight of 1,000 alien eyes upon him, brimming with hope and excitement. It made what he had to say all the more difficult. Arch-Counselor, honored representatives, Jack began, his voice grave. I've spent the last 6 standard months analyzing every aspect of the Nexus project, and I regret to inform you that in its current state, the project poses an unacceptable level of risk. A collective gasp rippled through the chamber, followed by a wave of angry muttering. Jack pressed on, undeterred. My team has identified no less than 2,743 potential points of catastrophic failure. These range from relatively minor issues like localized space-time distortions to worst-case scenarios that could result in the destruction of entire star systems. The holographic display behind Jack flickered to life, showing a dizzying array of schematics, simulations, and probability matrices. As he delved into the technical details, he could see the mounting horror on the faces and other sensory organs of the assembled representatives. In conclusion, Jack said, his voice cutting through the stunned silence, it is my recommendation that the Nexus project be immediately halted pending a complete redesign with significantly enhanced safety measures. The chamber erupted into chaos. Accusations flew, tempers flared, and more than a few representatives stormed out in disgust. Through it all, Jack stood firm, weathering the storm of alien outrage with stoic resolve. As the tumult reached its peak, a new voice cut through the din. Enough. All eyes turned to the source doctor. Elias Cho, the renowned Terran xenophysicist. He strode to the center of the chamber, his lean frame vibrating with barely contained energy. My esteemed colleagues, Elias began, his voice carrying a hint of his native Korean accent. I understand your frustration. But I implore you to listen to Commander Harper. What you see is pessimism we Terrans call prudence. Elias turned, gesturing to the hovering holograms. These scenarios may seem far-fetched, even paranoid, but I assure you every one of them is based on sound scientific principles. Commander Harper isn't trying to derail the Nexus project. He's trying to save it, and potentially all of us. A hush fell over the chamber as Elias continued. Humanity's history is rife with technological disasters. The Chernobyl meltdown, the AI wars, the Mars colony collapse. Each of these tragedies taught us a harsh lesson that no advancement is worth the cost of uncalculated risk. He paused, his gaze sweeping the room. But these experiences also forged us into unparalleled problem solvers. We learned to anticipate failure, to plan for every contingency. It's not pessimism, it's preparation. As Elias spoke, Jack could see the mood in the chamber shifting. The anger was fading, replaced by thoughtful consideration. Even Arch-Counselor Van Rx seemed to be nodding along. The Nexus project is too important to rush, Elias concluded. Let us take the time to address these concerns, to build in redundancies and fail-safes. Together, we can create something truly miraculous and truly safe. In the days that followed, Jack found himself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. The Galactic Council had not only accepted his recommendations but had placed him in charge of a new task force dedicated to Nexus safety protocols. As he pored over schematics and ran simulations late into the night, Jack allowed himself a small smile. It wasn't an easy path they'd chosen, but it was the right one. And in the end, that's what mattered most. Months turned into years as the Nexus project underwent a complete overhaul. Jack's team grew, incorporating the brightest minds from across the galaxy. Dr. Cho became his right-hand man, his brilliant insights complementing Jack's meticulous planning. They faced setbacks and challenges at every turn. The power requirements for their new safety systems were astronomical. The computational models needed to predict wormhole stability pushed the limits of even the most advanced AI. And always there was pressure from impatient council members who saw only delays and mounting costs. But Jack and Elias stood firm, backed by an ever-growing cadre of supporters who recognized the value of their approach. Slowly but surely, the Nexus began to take shape not as a rushing river of uncertainty, but as a carefully controlled flow of spacetime. 5 years to the day after Jack's initial presentation, the Galactic Council reconvened. The chamber buzzed with anticipation as Jack took the podium once more. Arch-Counselor, honored representatives, he began, a note of pride creeping into his voice. I stand before you today not to enumerate risks but to celebrate solutions. The Nexus project is now not only feasible but safer than we ever dared hope. The holographic display came to life, showcasing the staggering advancements they'd made: quantum stabilizers to prevent gravitational collapse, temporal shielding to protect against paradoxes, fail-safes upon fail-safes, each one a testament to human ingenuity and alien collaboration. As Jack concluded his presentation, the chamber erupted into applause. Even the most hardened skeptics couldn't deny the elegance of the solutions presented. The Nexus would be built, and it would be glorious. In the aftermath of the council meeting, Jack found a moment of quiet on a balcony overlooking the Centaurian capital. The gas giant loomed large on the horizon, its swirling storms a reminder of the chaos they'd worked so hard to tame. I don't think I've ever seen you smile like that, Jack Elias said, joining him at the railing. Jack chuckled, surprised to find that his friend was right. I suppose I'm not used to optimism. It feels strange. But good. I hope Elias nudged him with an elbow. Good, Jack agreed. Though don't expect me to start singing songs about sunshine and rainbows. Someone's got to keep an eye out for the next potential disaster. Elias laughed, clapping Jack on the shoulder. And that, my friend, is why the galaxy needs us pessimists. We see the pitfalls so others can reach the stars. As they stood there, watching distant ships streak across the alien sky, Jack felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had taken humanity's darkest trait, the ability to imagine and plan for the worst, and turned it into a beacon of hope for the entire galaxy. The Nexus would be built. It would reshape the very fabric of galactic society, and at its core would be the indelible mark of human foresight, a testament to the power of pessimism in the service of progress. In the years that followed, as the Nexus took shape in the void between stars, Jack and Elias became legends in their own right. They were hailed as the architects of a new era of galactic cooperation and scientific advancement. But for Jack, the true victory lay in the disasters that never came to pass, the catastrophes averted before they could begin. In the quiet moments between crises, he would remember that day on the balcony and allow himself a small, satisfied smile. The galaxy had learned an important lesson that sometimes the surest path to a brighter future is to first imagine every possible way it could go wrong. It was a peculiarly human gift, this blend of pessimism and determination. And it had changed the course of galactic history forever. As the first ships prepared to make the inaugural journey through the completed Nexus, Jack stood at the control center, his hand hovering over the activation switch. He took a deep breath, allowing himself one last moment of doubt, one final run-through of every worst-case scenario. Then, with a nod to Elias and a silent thanks to every human pessimist who had come before him, Jack Harper activated the Nexus. As the wormhole sprang to life, stable and controlled, he knew that they had not just built a bridge across the stars. They had forged a new understanding between species, a recognition that caution and ambition could coexist, that the most enduring triumphs are built not on blind optimism, but on clear-eyed assessment of risk and the unwavering determination to overcome it. In that moment, as cheers erupted across 100 worlds, humanity's place in the galactic community was secured. Not as conquerors or saviors, but as the invaluable voice of caution in a universe of infinite possibility. The pessimists had triumphed, and in doing so they had opened up a future brighter than anyone had dared to imagine.